Hey, what's up guys? Temple Cattle here, and I'm gonna try something new. I've never really gone over patch notes when they come out, so I'm gonna try to get in the habit of that and just give a little rundown on the changes that are happening and what impact they'll have. Well, let's jump right into it. Starting with Cassia. So Cassia, they're buffing her base damage a tiny bit, a little more percent increase on blind, but at the same time the huge change here is Seraph's Hymn is getting moved from 13 to 1, and it's getting nerfed, so the hero's not playable without charged strikes in her current state, so you can't ever take this talent anymore, and you no longer have the synergy of you can blind and then get like a triple auto splash and then perma-blind. So that's a pretty big nerf to her overall, so it's definitely a negative change, which I don't really like to see since she wasn't in a great spot to begin with, but we'll see how much of an impact it has. Chromie is getting her new passive buffed a little. You get your power spike a little earlier. That should help her do better on some of the maps where it's harder to stack. It might push her a little over the edge on the maps where she was already shining at this point, so we'll see how much better she gets, but she's definitely a little stronger. And then I don't think Timely Surprise change will do much because everyone's still going Bronze Talons, but who knows, maybe this will be enough to push it over. Kel'Thuzad is seeing mana nerfs on his WE and Shadow Fissure. That's good since you basically can't run him on the hero right now. And then cooldown is getting raised a little, other ults getting lowered. Probably still won't see much play with this, it's just too hard to really execute. And then Shadow Fissure damage is going down a bit, which is nice. So his Insane Burst combo is getting nerfed, which is great because it's just too easy to pull off. And other than that, it's just a little shifting around. Phylactery is getting nerfed a tiny bit. It's not going to change much. Accelerated Decay at 7 is getting buffed, but Glacial Spike is still on a 30-second cooldown, so it's still going to be the 100% go-to. It's just too strong. Makes his combo too easy. And they're buffing his, because everyone was taking this every game. Chains of Ice a little. Pretty sure it's still the go-to. And then same thing with Hunger and Cold. Slight nerf, lowers the burst combo a bit, but I feel like it should still be the go-to. But have to test it out a little. Butcher's getting base AD, health scaling, health regen all buffed a little. Helps him out a tiny bit. Doesn't look like it's enough to actually make him a good hero. He's still just going to be like a cheesy pub stomper, but I don't know. I don't care about Butcher. Thrall's getting a pretty big health buff, 90 health almost. And health regen increase. I mean, it'll make him tankier for sure. Maybe he has a little more situations where he's like the niche pick that you can fit in. Overall, not going to make a huge change, but it's definitely nice to see him get a little tankier, so I'm all for it. Brightwing getting a slight blink heal and soothing mist buff. Not bad. She wasn't insanely good right now, so she's getting outshined by a lot of healers. This should help her a little. And she's getting a new pretty insane Q talent. If you hit him in the center with Q, it gets reduced to 1 second. That sounds like a really good talent if you're willing to give up Hyper Shift, so we'll see what that does. That looks like a pretty good buff. And then Peekaboo now reveals a little less, but you get Pixie Dust on the target. That seems like a good change, especially with the phase shield change. You can like buff, you can Pixie Dust them and you both get a shield. Might be a little better. Looks like she has a little more like flexibility in her kit, which is a good change. Morales getting very slight buffs, a little more HP, a little harder to dive, and then Healing Beam's not as impactful to get interrupted, which is good. And then her like new on-hit energy talent gives her more range, but you can't hit minions with it anymore. I don't know how much of an impact this has. I haven't really played New Medic, but it's definitely a slight buff, so it should help her. Spine Launcher getting buffed a little. Maybe this is the era of ranged Stukov, but I doubt it off just this. Tyrande, Huntress's Fury now increases the range of hunters marked by 50%. That could see some impact if it lines it up where there's stun cooldown a little more. So I could see this maybe being picked sometimes now if they have like way too much frontline pressure for her to actually step into mark, but yeah, not sure. And then pretty big in power nerf. Fan of this for sure. Her poke is pretty insane, especially if you don't have like enough to sustain to deal with it. This definitely puts it a little more under control, so I don't know how much owl build we'll be seeing anymore off this, because it is a pretty big nerf. Chen, it's another like ninja nerf, so the reason I think this is a nerf they're removing Grounding Brew and incorporating it into a level 7 talent, but with the huge elusive brawler nerf, basically the only situations where Chen was viable was when you could combo Grounding Brew with Boulder Flavor and just be tanky off that. But now you can't have Grounding Brew and Boulder Flavor anymore, and the elusive brawler got nerfed so much that like with Brewmasters you just weren't really tanky enough anymore, and taking just Purifying Brew to get Fortifying Brew now, not Fortifying Brew, to get the Spell Armor, but you don't get the extra shield from Boulder Flavor. This seems like the nerf that kills the hero to me. I don't see myself ever calling to pick for Chen anymore, so pretty disappointing. I hope they rework him a little sometime down the road to make him a little more viable again. Down to Dahaka. Dahaka has slight basic attack damage nerf, slight Dark Swarm nerf. I mean, Dahaka's insane. He's a powerhouse right now, so these nerfs should tone him down a tiny bit. The Dark Swarm nerf, it just depends on if the 3 damage has like some sort of effect on what levels he can actually one-shot the wave on, so this could be a bigger nerf than it looks like, but not sure until it gets tested at like every level. Garrosh, very slight nerfs on mana, which is good. He doesn't really have mana issues, so it shouldn't impact him much, but maybe it'll have, make you have to recall like 1 extra time a game. And Body Check is getting buffed a little. No one's going to take it still. It's just not impactful enough, I think. And Into the Phrase getting toned down a little, which it's still going to be good in every situation. It was good, but this is a good little nerf. And then last but not least, Entomb is getting lowered to 60 seconds instead of 75. They did nerf it pretty hard, so I like this change. I feel like 75-second Entomb isn't that impactful compared to like the old 50 or whatever it was, but this is a good little step. We'll see how well Leoric does in the coming weeks. Yeah, well, thanks for watching. I'm going to keep trying to do these in the future, and until then, keep supporting us in HGC and watch us on our road to BlizzCon. And shoutouts to Tempo and all of our sponsors. Thanks, everyone, for supporting us.